Welcome all and welcome to Mr. Prashant Kishor. I'll just read a prepared statement after 5 or 10 minutes of interaction, and then I'll open up the session to all of you. Mr. Prashant Kishor is going to talk about the theme today, youth, technology and politics. Mr. Kishor is from Bihar and he is trained as a public health professional, has worked for the UN for almost 8 years, and his major success as a political strategist are many. I will name a few here. In 2012, Gujarat campaign, BJP's Mr. Modi as Chief Minister of Gujarat. 2014, for BJP, India's first social media campaign that completely revolutionized Indian politics. And 2015, Bihar, and he also started IPAC, which is actually Indian Political Action Committee. And obviously you know that Nitish Kumar ji won the elections, and in his recent avatar as JDU Vice President, hope he'll be able to actually put many of his strategies into practice. And he also started CAG, which is Citizens for Accountable Governance. And in 2014 elections, his Chai Pe Charcha was actually a mega hit, and you know the impact it had on the elections as a whole, and also in other campaigns as well. And Punjab elections 2017, Captain Amarinder Singh, the Chief Minister of Punjab, has been on record about the role of PK, so within quotes. So Captain Amarinder Singh calls him PK, Prashant Kishor. So without further ado, I have a few questions that I would like to ask, and then after 5 or 10 minutes, I will open it up for you to ask questions. And I think we already have collected questions in the Google form. So we'll be able to actually read out from the dais. And if he wants to answer questions directly later, we will be able to open it up as well. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's a great privilege on my part to be amongst you. Thank you very much for inviting me. Before you start the questions, I just want to say a couple of things. Maybe I'll take a few minutes. This whole idea of someone being a political strategist, political aide is overhyped, overrated. No single individual, no matter who he is, no single individual or entity can impact the outcome of elections. Never make that mistake. This is how media reports it, or this is how some of you look at it, but this is highly overrated. Never get into that trap. People on the margin might make some contribution here or there. My area of interest as of now is bringing more youth in politics, because I genuinely believe to bring change in India, if we want to bring fundamental change, three things has to be there. We need to bring more youth in politics, not only to do the backstage management or bring crowd or do jail bharo andolan kind, but actually youth who have the opportunity to become part of the electoral politics. The second thing, I believe that we need to decentralize as a country. We need to respect what was brought in our constitution in 90s, which is empowering Panchayati Raj. A country of our size and scale, no matter how good or bad the government is, cannot be run by few individuals sitting in Chennai or Delhi or whatever. As per the constitutional mandate, 50% of the developmental budget should be spent through the local bodies. Almost 25 years since the amendment has been brought in the constitution, we have not reached even 20%. And the third thing which I am very passionate about is allowing lateral entry at a scale in government. Something on which I had a difference of opinion with Mr. Modi after he became Prime Minister, one of the reasons I would have left. And so on these 3 points, I would love to take any questions, but these are the 3 things which I am passionate about. This is what I do. What I am doing as of now on all these 3. I'll take 1 minute on, as far as youth in politics is concerned, I have made a commitment now that next 2-3 years of my life, I'm going to dedicate it fully to bring 100,000 youth in politics, those who otherwise do not have a political background, and out of those 1 lakh people, at least 15,000, 12 to 15,000 people are going to fight elections in Bihar. Because I have a political platform in Bihar, I cannot commit anywhere else. But this is something which anyone who is listening to me or following me or even from a distance have interest in what I do should hold me accountable to. That if I am able to deliver this commitment in next couple of years, I should get 1 lakh plus people in the political establishment I am part of, and make 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 of them fight elections at different levels. The second thing is the decentralization. In Bihar, I am committed to make the local body election fight on the party symbol, because that is where the leadership should get trained and emerge from. So next elections which you will see in Bihar, the local bodies elections, which elects close to 2 lakh people every round, you will see that will be fought on party symbol. And third, on the lateral entry, what I wanted to create in India was the Bharat Vikas mission that would have allowed at least, if not more, 20,000 people to literally come seamlessly in the government, work in the area of their choice, come and go back. An idea which me and Mr. Modi shared and developed almost 2 years, because a lot of you might not know, I have been working with him since 2011, and not as a political strategist. I left UN and came to work on malnutrition with him, and this is one idea on which we were invested. For whatever reason it did not work out. In Bihar when we won, the first thing I got Nitish Kumar to agree is to set up this Bihar Vikas mission, where lateral entries, it's a setup where lateral entries are allowed, not in the manner and the scale which I would have wanted again, because you have to realize, understand one thing, these setups, there is so much of resistance to lateral entry. You might have seen an ad by Government of India where they have asked for 10 posts that they wanted to fill through lateral entry, and there was so much of halla gulla about it, because bureaucracy that runs the government has been running the government for decades. No one would like a young person from IIT who has done a research in water resource to come and starts advising the water resource secretary. That guy might be running, I was just joking with some of your colleagues, the guy was running a health department or transport department, today he becomes the water secretary, and he is supposed to be knowing everything. You as a young researcher might have gone to the best school, you might be knowing the best practices in water resource, but you have no opportunity to go and contribute in how the Chennai's water problem could be solved. The commissioner here who sits here and probably knows not even W of water has come to the department only 5 days back. Before that, he might be running any department. He is the master of everything. So this will happen, and sooner or later, whoever takes my help has to commit. This is the fees I demand, that you have to create a lateral entry system. Ideally, I thought, as all young people think, I'm no longer as young as I claim to be. I'm 41, but in India, if you are in politics, you are never old. Everyone is a Yuva Neta. But I think in next few years, if I would be lucky and if I'm able to win few more elections, you will see this lateral entry at least starting at the state level. Couple of things which you do not pay attention to. Why so important to get youth in politics? Everyone talks about Yuva, but do you know in 1952, the first Lok Sabha which we had, 26% MPs were below 40 years. 26% MPs in first Lok Sabha were below were 26, below 40 years. Today, what is the number? 7%. Only 7% MPs today are less than 40. Now you need to know something more about it. Those who are below 40 and are MPs, 67% of them, I am talking about all parties included, are belonging to some political family or the other. No one is allowed to enter. If you are below 40, 67% MPs in this present Lok Sabha belong to some political family. I give one more layer of information. Below 40, if you are a Congress MP, 100% of them are political dynasty. 100%. I encourage you to go and check the data. Net data is free. You are all computer savvy guys. Look at this figure. The bulk of member parliament in the first Lok Sabha, their age group was 40 to 55. 54% of MPs in our first Lok Sabha were in the age group of 41 to 55. If you add these two groups, 2/3 of MPs were below 55 in the first Lok Sabha. Today, the maximum number of MPs, 46% to be precise, are in the age group of 55 to 70. And 13% of them are more than 71 years. A phenomena which first 3 Lok Sabha was never there. If you look at the first 3 Lok Sabha, not only 52, 57, 62. In 3 Lok Sabha, we never had MPs who were 70 and above, maybe 1 or 2 here and there. It started only from 1967 onwards. Now such is the case that close to 15% MPs are above 70. Why? Because entry for the younger people who do not have money, who do not have political background is becoming difficult. You are also getting less enthusiastic about politics. A quote which I always share with my colleagues, I must share with you. Plato has said that if you do not participate in democracy, be ready to be ruled by your inferiors. So you might be feeling good about being in IIT, being a scientist, engineer, whoever you are, or whatever you want to become. But if you keep cribbing about the politicians and the politics, be ready that someone will rule you who will be much inferior to what you are. So you do not participate in democracy at your own cost. So please, sitting in the room and cribbing about politicians is not good enough. If that has to ever change, it has to be changed by people of India. People will not come from outside India to change the politics. That does not mean that you leave your studies. That does not mean that you do not prepare for your civil services or engineering, whatever you want to do. But keep in mind that when life gives you a chance, do try. Even if you do not want to become active politicians, be informed, be engaged. For that you do not necessarily need to join a political party. But there is nothing that prevents you to spend some time knowing and engaging on the issues that actually concerns your own life and the generations to come. With this I close, and I am happy to hear the questions, whatever professor has here or you guys. Thank you.
So actually before we came here, several students and Mr. Kishore had a very interesting discussion about various issues. And we would like to touch upon a few of those issues to set the stage, set the ball rolling. And after that, it will be a very short discussion, okay? Then we'll open up to the students. In real politics, winning is everything. Does policy or governance play a major role in political campaigns, or are that just tactics and strategy to win elections?
So winning is important in every sphere of life. not only in politics. Make no mistake. How much is the importance of governance or the delivery? In real terms, it's not that much. So a lot of time you hear that actually governance does not fetch you vote. But what it does fetch is the credibility. If I have to simplify what works to the best of my understanding, not that I know a lot, you need to get the combination of three things right if you have to win elections. One is the messenger, which is the leader. You need to be enthused by the person, you have to have a trust on that guy. If Prashant Kishor says that I will change India, no one is interested because I don't have that credibility or trust among the people. So delivery or governance comes in building that trust, or your own character allows people to have that trust in you. If someone has delivered as CM or as a member parliament or as an MLA, when he says that I will do X, Y, Z, there is a greater degree of trust. But per se, if you have built road, you have built hospital, that will not fetch you vote directly, but it gets into the brand or gets into the making of the messenger or the leader. The second thing which is important is the guy should say the right thing. The message and the messenger should be having the right message. If people are concerned about unemployment and you are talking about something else, of course there will be no connect. And the third thing what you hear about campaign and the various method is the format in which he engages. It should be interesting enough for people to be attracted, whether it's a rally or a chai pe charcha or a social media or hologram, whatever you see, that's the format. So you have to get the combination, the messenger, the leader, the message, the people's concern, the issues that concerns people, and if message is delivered by a credible messenger in a format that is engaging, you are more likely to win than lose. So whatever you have delivered as part of government contributes in you as a messenger, and also probably if you have worked hard, you also know to get the right message across. Many people get this wrong. I would say most of us we get it wrong. You'd be surprised to know there are a lot of people from Andhra here, I was told. In Andhra, if I ask you what is the most talked about issue, 99% people will say job, महंगाई, corruption, etc., etc. When we actually looked the data closely, it's a drainage. The thing which most households have mentioned as the thing they want their governments to do is drainage. Now, imagine you go back to the hostel and one day, or you go back to your flat, and imagine what happens if drainage is clogged in your flat. What kind of mess your life will become? You and I do not realize this. We just can't realize this. In Bihar, we found close to 1/3 of FIRs or the local level disputes were arising out of drainage problem. You tell me a single survey where you would find this. You will not be able to find it. So in Bihar, Mr. Modi announced 1.5 lakh crore package. To counter that, we said 7 Nitish ke saath nischay. First thing was making pakkikaran of the nali, that is the drainage. So if you get it right, people are not looking for 1.5 lakh crore, maybe 60% or 50% people do not even know what the number looks like. 150 lakh crore रुपया कितना होता है लोगों को पता ही नहीं है. But if you come and tell that, if I am the chief minister tomorrow, आपकी नली बन जाएगी, इसका पक्कीकरण कर दिया जाएगा, people understand that. So it is very easy for you to say, message को तो सबको पता ही है भाई, महंगाई से सब त्रस्त है, भ्रष्टाचार से सब. I'm not talking about that, but to get the message right is the most important thing other than having that leader.
And what is
format is the list of between these three. What bothers you so much? Social media, data, chai pe charcha. This among these three, that comes at the lowest.
So you have had a lot of international experience in UN. especially working on policy. How does that experience help you in elevating the quality of discourse or informing the politics, policy, discourse in our country?
I don't know, international experience has helped me any bit on that. But whatever I used to do in UN, I came to work on malnutrition in India. I did not came as a political strategist in my family, like all of yours family. If you mention politics, people will say, "Tum pagal ho gaye ho kya? Have you gone mad? अब पढ़ाई लिखाई में मन नहीं है, आपको अब काम नहीं करना है, you are a UN diplomat, why would you leave that and try to become an advisor or a support to any politician?" But what worked is, say for example in UN I used to write speeches for my office heads. There is so much that goes into writing the speeches of UN biggies. When I came to Mr. Modi, I remember after 4 months, first time I was brought into, because he was coming to a famous paper in your state, Tughlaq. So he was to deliver a speech in English. So he would have said, okay, ये आए हैं प्रशांत जी, इनको भी मतलब जो उनकी 4-5 लोगों की टीम थी, call him also. So that was my first thing, and I would have also written something which he would deliver here as a speech. And then they realized that okay, it is good. Then one step done. Then we launched him on Facebook. Then one more step. It's not like one day you come and someone has appointed you as his advisor and then what you read in the paper. It's not like that. Has been every day a struggle. When you put all that 4-5 years of work in one bucket and then name it as a political strategy or whatever, it looks big. For us it has been a daily survival, that I get up in the morning and I have to better someone who was already there doing whatever he or she was doing. No leader or no political establishment, there is nothing called clean slate. It's not that Mr. Modi would not have someone as a speech writer, but if I come and I deliver and make him realize that okay, I can write his speeches slightly better, then you get one step further. If you can analyze data better than what his team was doing, then you also get into data. If you launch him in Facebook, then he realizes, oh, this is a good platform to be on, then you get one more inch. When it comes to international, I was doing a lot, I was heading social policy and planning and monitoring in UN, in West Central Africa. So I used to joke that all the questionnaires which we used to do, why do you immunize, why do you breastfeed or why you don't, why do you feed a child one way or other, the questions changed, the techniques were the same. Now we started asking, why do you vote, what takes you to a polling booth, what you like in a leader or what you don't like in a leader. The questions change, but the knowledge of statistics is the same. And because we have done, or we were doing a lot of surveys and using data when I was in UN, probably that would have helped, because in his team at that time probably were not that many people who would have very good understanding of data or statistics or large spreadsheets and how that could be put to use for the political decision making.
So,
but international exposure per se doesn't help.
So coming to the next question is about big data and AI. What do you think?
I told someone who practices AI, if you ever want to make use of AI or data, first be the person to realize that this is not as effective as you claim to be. AI or data cannot make any change on the electoral outcome. That is very far-fetched. Even it cannot change the way you think, the way you react or respond. What it could do is to help understand how people think, what they are doing. It is bringing a structure to gathering a lot of information. As I was telling in that meeting, Mahatma Gandhi would not have AI, but still he would know that salt is an issue which bothers probably large section of the masses. Today probably someone would put AI and say, okay, drainage is an issue on which people are excited. But if you as a practitioner of AI starts thinking that just because you are able to know that drainage is a major issue, you can change the electoral outcome or the game, that would be a little far-fetched. So be humble about it. These are just the tools, very small in the very big puzzle, whether AI or data, it definitely helps. More so because our country is so big. Everything runs into millions. A district is like 2 million, 2.5 million. So if you are good at spreadsheets, it's always help. Even if it is simply sorting the name, number, surnames, people, different attributes, their behavioral traits, it always helps. So in that way, this could be put to use and is being put to use, but never think that this is something that could make an impact on the electoral outcome. It could help organize part of the political or the campaign decision making, but nothing beyond it. What you read about Cambridge Analytica and all, it's all bunkum. Cambridge Analytica has never worked with any political party in India, no matter what people are telling. Everyone now is telling that no, they have worked with the other party because they want that there is a vote in it. It's overstating of your CV, which you and I do. All of us we do. You have worked as a volunteer in Obama campaign, you come back and you will write that I ran the Obama campaign. You must have met hundreds of people who claim that they were part of Obama campaign. If I ask you, very few would be able to say who actually ran the Obama campaign, I don't know. I have met at least 10 people who claim that I have run Obama campaign. So has the Modi campaign, so has the Trump campaign. Success has many fathers. So don't get into that part. Cambridge Analytica that they have taken, you know, one of the claim I tell you and you will realize, one of the claim on which the famous Aruna Goswami did 1 hour show, that Cambridge Analytica claimed that they have helped government Bihar win election in 2009. Now Mr. Modi's Facebook was launched by me in 2011. Imagine how many people were there on Facebook platform in India in 2009. People did not even know Facebook as a platform for the political purpose. I am talking about India, forget about Bihar. If there was not even 1% of people of Bihar on Facebook, and Cambridge Analytica is claiming that they have impacted the election outcome of 2009, and Aruna Goswami is getting agitated that this is the breach against the national security. And we all get sucked into it. Look what they are doing. Baba, ask a basic question. How many Facebook users were there in Bihar in 2009? कैम्ब्रिज एनालिटिका आएगा कहाँ से वहाँ तो फेसबुक यूजर ही नहीं है। 1 घंटे तू मैं किए जा रहे हैं।
So this is a very simple question. Any politician who has been able to successfully marry governance, politics and development? Any politician in your view who has been successful?
Lot of them. I do not have wisdom to kind of rank anyone, but I encourage you to read Ramchandra Guha has written the 10 best chief ministers India has seen post independence. 2 of them figure from Tamil Nadu. 2 of them out of those 10 are from Tamil Nadu. And if you read those names, you would realize that why those, like Sankaraj Chauhan in Maharashtra, Annadurai in Tamil Nadu, Pratap Singh Kairo in Punjab, you would see the impact that how the position of the state has fundamentally changed. And one good thing to track is to see the state's ranking on per capita basis or the size of economy or the key developmental indicators at the time of independence, and see the journey of the states over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And then if you plot these 10 chief ministers, which he ranks as top 10, it could be 10, it could be 12. So don't get into whether Ramchandra Guha has some bias or not. Maybe that list would be 12, maybe 15. But you could put those 15 tenures and see the state moving up and down, straight. It's a quantifiable thing. Tamil Nadu moving from being in outside 10 states, being in 10th to 30th state, in top 5, you will see it would have started taking shape during Annadurai's time. Same for Punjab, same for Maharashtra. any state that has seen a massive change in their relative ranking would have had some leader who would have played a role of a catalyst. It's something which you can do in your room. You can go and exercise this, conduct this exercise, you will figure it out. So you don't need a Prashant Kishor or anyone to say, because I would have a personal bias, who is a good leader, who is a bad leader. All of us we have. But these numbers do not lie. Plot the state's development over 70 years, the relative ranking, and see states which has moved 5 positions or 6 positions, not on one indicator, on set of 5, 6, 10 indicators. And those indicators should also be your personal choice. Because for some of you, maybe economic equality or communal harmony is more important than pure economic growth. But what you will realize, that these real game changers would have delivered almost across all indicators. Almost across all indicators.
So that was a very diplomatic answer. He is not talking about the current Prime Minister or Chief Ministers. That is.
If you will ask, I will answer that also. You said which leader. Literally I am naming that Ramchandra Guha has named 10. You can add your own. You can have your own list. It's like naming the best 11. The cricket. We all are cricket crazy people. So every person who names the top 11, find 4 or 5 common ones, and then some changes here and there. You can do it yourself.
So
I've given you the criteria how possibly you could do.
and I will actually open it up for students. We can start.
Thank you, sir, for your views and insights.